From JBS Studios in Greater New York, this is the JBS News Update with Teisha Bader.
I'm Teisha Bader with the JBS News Update for Wednesday, September the 28th, 2022. Two wanted Palestinian terrorists said to be planning more attacks against Israelis were killed after they opened fire on IDF troops in the West Bank today. The IDF tweeted that Israeli security forces operated in the Jenin camp this morning to apprehend two suspects involved in a number of recent shooting attacks. After our forces surrounded the residence in which the suspects were located, the IDF said an explosive device detonated and the suspects opened fire toward the security forces. The security forces fired back, according to standard operating procedure, and the two suspects were both killed. Two other Palestinians who were also involved in the shootout were killed as well. Israeli Prime Minister Yair Lapid commended the security forces, whom he tweeted acted with determination this morning in order to arrest a number of terrorists involved in planning attacks to kill Israelis, including the brother of the killer from the shooting attack on Dizengoff Street earlier this year in Tel Aviv, who planned to continue the path of blood and death. Lapid said, "We will not be deterred and will not hesitate to act against anyone who tries to raise his hand against the citizens of Israel and the security forces." And in a security briefing today, the Times of Israel cites IDF Chief of Staff Lieutenant General Aviv Kochavi saying the Jenin operation was aimed at the goal of thwarting a concrete threat, saying every day and night Israeli forces are thwarting terror attacks. A delegation from Israel is in Washington today, taking part in the U.S. Israel Strategic Dialogue on Technological Cooperation. Prime Minister Lapid's office and Israel's Ministry of Innovation, Science and Technology said that an Israeli delegation led by Innovation Minister Orit Farkas-Cohen and National Security Advisor Dr. Eyal Hulata are taking part in this event, which it wrote will place Israel among a select few countries that the United States sees as a strategic partner in this field, writing that in the framework of the Jerusalem Declaration, which was signed by Prime Minister Lapid and President Joe Biden this past July, it was decided to advance a dialogue on strategic technologies in order to bring U.S. Israel relations to new heights and create a partnership in critical and emerging technologies. Actor and former governor of California, Arnold Schwarzenegger, visited the site of the Auschwitz death camp today, part of his work with the Auschwitz Jewish Center Foundation, which fights hatred and prejudice through education. The Austrian-born Schwarzenegger, who has spoken openly about his father, a Nazi soldier during the war, has been working with the foundation for a number of years, but this was his first time at the site of the Nazi death camp, where today he also met with survivors, including a woman who was just 3 years old when she was the victim of the notorious Dr. Mengele's inhumane experiments.
People like her can help us to never stop telling that horrible story of what happened here 80 years ago when 1.1 million people were executed, exterminated, killed, shot, tortured, whatever it was. This is a story that has to stay alive. This is a story that we have to tell over and over again. And it is important that not only the Jewish people say, never again, but that we all collectively help to come together and say, never again.
Well, a painting given up to the Nazis by its Jewish owner under duress during the Holocaust was returned to the woman's family. The JTA reports a Dutch restitution committee determined Vasily Kandinsky's view of Murnau with church, which has been owned by the city of Eindhoven since 1951 and hung at its art museum, should be returned to the family of Joanna Margaret Stern-Lippmann, an art collector who was murdered at Auschwitz in 1944. Stern-Lippmann's descendants who live in Belgium, the Netherlands, and the U.S. said of the return of the artwork, "It's coming back to us now marks an important moment. It won't bring back the 9 immediate family members who were so tragically murdered, but it's an acknowledgement of the injustice that we and so many like us have endured. Taking a look now at our programming for tonight on JBS for Wednesday, September the 28th at 7 o'clock, it's Talmud Study. At 7:30, Masua Sagiv presents her vision of a more developed sense of Israeli identity, which all citizens of Israel could embrace alongside their religious identities for a more prosperous shared society. At 9, Mark Golubs sits down with 3 rabbis to discuss the Jewish understanding of God ahead of Yom Kippur: Chaim Steinmetz, Grabelle, Herrmann, and Marcelo, Kormis. At 10:30, Rabbi Joseph Telushkin shares important teachings of Judaism and Jewish life. And coming up next, it's Thinking Out Loud. And that's the JBS News Update for Wednesday, September the 28th, 2022. I'm Teisha Bader. Stay healthy, stay well.